Well, hi, we're just carrying on with our theme, if you've just come on for the first time maybe, on reclaim. It's a reclaim. We're taking that aspect of a nation, people, homes, all of these different aspects of things that seemingly we have lost, but are they lost? That's the question. We had a look at the aspect of the social climate in which we live today. And I wonder just how many of us really have a concern and a burden for how our society really is being minimized. It's being abused, being separated one against another. All these different aspects break down our society, but this is a time to start to reclaim that. Let's have a look at the aspect of commerce. I want to speak specifically about that today. What about the area of commerce and commercial realities in which we live today? We're still living on the hangover from the COVID days, actually, when the government closed down so many businesses that could never get back on their feet again. Closed down so many different people and projects across the land, and they haven't been able to get back up again. Whether it be a resource problem, whether it be finances, whatever that is, but it's like it's been robbed from them. The government has robbed us of these things. Here's some of the commerce aspects to think about. What about downsizing? This can be a thing, but downsizing is a reality. You go back into the 90s of the last century. In the 90s, the business right through the whole land was a downsize. There were a lot of things lost during that downsizing time. But the downsize was so that they could reclaim their business and allow themselves to be in a profitable base to continue on in the future. What about the aspect of profitability? What's been lost in our businesses? We hear the cry even today, so many years after all of this thing, how many businesses are still closing or are possibly going to have to close because the profitability is not in the business anymore. Well, I want to ask you to consider maybe today, what can you do to reclaim that? Reclaim your business. I want to encourage you, reclaim your business, whatever that is today. If you've got the determination in your own heart, look, God will be behind this because He's in all this business. He's in reclaim, He's in restore, He's in rebuild. It's all that aspect. God's in that. He's in it for you. Why? Because He created all of these things and gave you and I the ability to be able to create things, whether it be in business and commerce and in any other aspect of our lives. But what have you lost that's important to you? Let's go on a little further. What about technology and the human factor here? When we see that the human, in a lot of aspects, we talk about today, AI, and we see the human factor being set aside, if you like, in a lot of instances, or the threat of being set aside while AI takes their place and begins to think for them and begins to make decisions for them and to base them on that. Well, how about the human resource today? How about you and your human resource in your business, in your home, or whatever that is for you? What about the area of our farming when our governments have absolutely abused the farmers of our land? And many of them sit in a place of bankruptcy, sitting in a place where everything, the profit is gone from all of that. And we see the whole process of our farming industry. I mean, do we want to reclaim that back? We can do that. We can do that. You can do that. Together we can do that with God. We reclaim, take back what has been taken from you. Take back. There it is. Take back what has been taken from you. Doesn't matter who's taken it from you, just take it back. Begin to find a way in which you can find these things to be reclaimed so they can be restored. There's farming. There's what about the stock and the stock market actually deals with all the finances. What about the stability of our finances? What about now the abuse of all of that? Where we see the banks that just load and load and load higher interest rates on people and create problems for them where they're unable to afford what it is that they have or what they bought. Why don't we look at how can we reclaim that? I mean, how can we reclaim what we are losing or we have lost? I want to challenge you in that to understand that God is over all and you can invite God into the midst of all of this. He can do it. You can do it. What about the aspect of investment methods when we see so many things we call the crypto coins and all of these different things which we build up and build up and build up and we think aspects and our wealth is being increased. But is it? Or have we seen losses on that like we often see on the stock market? It goes up and down and up and down. We've got a high investment today. We've got no investment tomorrow. We've got a loss. How do we go about reclaiming these things? How do we do that? What about corporate business and all of that? We see a lot of challenge coming on them. We see a lot of them deciding now that they need to restructure or they need to downsize within the business. Why? Because they want to be more profitable about them. That's the whole commercial reality that we live in. The banking and the lending. We see all of these different areas. We rely on the bank sometimes to be able to buy our home or to support our business or to buy something what we need. We rely on them. What is it that through all the midst of all of these things and the increasing of all of the different interest aspects to all the borrowings that we have, what are we losing? Or what have we lost? Can you do something today? Can you do something to say, I'm going to reclaim that which I have lost? What about the confidence issues that are in our society today? I mean, the confidence issues in our land are very, very low. Why? Because they've been oppressed. It's like they've been beaten up. It's like they've just been left on the side of the road. Doesn't matter. Our governments don't have a concern of that. The governments are more concerned about their seat and being where they are than they are about the people of the land. We need people. So we need to find a way in which we can challenge the political arena and the legislators in relation to us reclaiming, taking back, hanging on to what we have before we lose it. So the whole lesson leads us into the aspect of government. What about the government and the political uncertainty? We live in those uncertainties still today. Why? Because the mix and the makeup of the government, where we have different aspects of leadership coming together. Different parties coming together, and they all have different demands, and there's a compromise that goes on with all of this. But how do we and the people, what does that do for us? We need to challenge it. Don't just take it easy now. With the elections gone, wherever you are in the world today, you've got a new president, you've got a new prime minister, you've got a new government, whatever it is that you have. Don't let them just get on and do business as usual. We need to rise up and begin to reclaim what they've taken of us, and that's huge. What about the political alliances and the discussion that we have on all of that and the conflict that we get as a result? How does that impact you and I? We need to take these things back. Why don't we take back prayer into our parliaments? Why don't we take that back? Why don't we take back our schools and take the Bible and the scriptures and the Word of God back into our schools, into this next generation? Why don't we have a look at that afresh? You say there's too much opposition. You're not allowed to do it, aren't you? Never accept all those things. Begin to determine in your own heart, we're going to reclaim that. We're going to reclaim the kids. We're going to reclaim our education. We're going to reclaim our political system. We're going to reclaim our values. We're going to reclaim people. We're going to reclaim our young people. What about the areas of conflicts and behaviours? Does that get any less? No, it's not. So what can we do to be able to reclaim some kind of normality and sensibleness and reclaim the minds of people? What about the areas of truth and deception? We see a lot of that. We see a lot of lies. In a lot of instances, you have a look at different political systems across the world. You listen to a lot of the leaders and so on, and you hear about the conflicts, you hear about their behaviour, and you hear about more truth as lies. Lies become truth to those who try to somehow deceive us. What about those aspects? Are we sitting in places of deception, allow ourselves being taken over by the deception of the lies that are presented to us to try and bring us into some kind of control? What about Constitution and the constitutional rights that we have within the country? What about those? Do we understand them? I don't understand them all in total, but I know this, that there is an attempt to change all of those so governments can continue to hold control. What about the sovereignty, the external pressures that come against us really from external powers, other nations, United Nations, World Economic Forum, all these different aspects that come against us? I mean, can we reclaim our land from all of this? Can we reclaim ourselves and our policy and our sovereignty? Yes, we can. Can we reclaim our leadership? Yes, we can. We just need to stand up and become accounted for the aspects of what it is that we want to. But do you know what it is that you want to reclaim? Do you know clearly today? We consider all our losses. We've lost this and we've lost that and we've lost something. But what can we do to reclaim that? That's the message here on this series. You can reclaim these things with the God and the power of God both on your life. We'll see that in the next snippet. And I encourage you that maybe you want to just click on subscribe. And from that, you'll just get a prompt as to the next Well, this coming on this, we're going to continue on and have a look at reclaim still before we move into another dimension. But here, reclaim. Think about that. Why don't you discuss it amongst yourself? Discuss amongst yourself even as families. What is it that you have lost in this period of time? Maybe we can stand together. We need support from one another. But we need a determination in our hearts that says, I'm going to take back what has been taken from me. Oh, God bless you. I trust that's helpful. Discuss it, circulate it, and share it with some others. And God bless you. You have a wonderful week. But remember, reclaim what you've lost. It's over to you. God bless.